Hi, everyone, and welcome to the SF Zine Fest 2021 Cyberfest Rebooted. We are very excited to have 12 awesome presenters for our show and tell group F, and I hope that you've been tuning in to all the previous show and tells, which you can go find on YouTube and Facebook. Tonight, I'm just really excited. I've been looking at their art all day from posting on social media and everything, and I'm really happy to hear more from them. So, quick order of events. First, we'll go over some house rules and expectations, and then the artists will each present their work, and we'll have a quick closing, and I'll let you know about merch that you can buy and other events that are happening for the rest of SF Zine Fest, which is going through this Sunday. And about San Francisco Zine Fest, we are celebrating our 20th anniversary because we were founded in 2001 as a gathering place for writers and artists from around the world, but especially the Bay Area. Typically, it's held as a one-day event in Golden Gate Park. And in 2019, we had about 240 exhibitors and more than 5,000 attendees. But last year, of course, we went totally virtual. And then this year we are mostly virtual as well, plus a component of working with some local bookstores to sell zines for the entire month. And so this year it's, as I said, mostly virtual with some workshops this weekend in person, and then those bookstores that you can visit for the rest of the month. About our Safer Spaces policy, we require all of our volunteers and exhibitors to agree to the Safer Spaces policy because we are committed to providing a harassment-free experience for everyone, regardless of gender, gender identity and expression, sexual orientation, disability, physical appearance, body size, race, or religion, and we will not tolerate harassment at SFZF events in any form. And so we expect our audiences and everyone participating in the zine community to benefit from the Safer Spaces policy and to uphold it and help each other uphold it as well. So tonight for this event, we are going to be respecting everyone's opinions, beliefs, differing states of being and differing points of view. And we ask that attendees included always get explicit consent before taking someone's photo or crossing other personal boundaries. And in the context of this online event, we ask that you do not take screenshots without the presenter's consent. So you can message them on Instagram or anywhere else, but preferably just enjoy it in the moment. And we find it to be everyone's responsibility to have a safe and respectful community. So above all, the important thing is to just respect each other.
Okay, we seem to have lost Michaela's audio for a second, so I'm just going to read off the slide in the meantime. So what is Cyberfest Rebooted? Oh, Michaela, can you?
Yeah.
Okay, we lost you for this whole slide.
Oh, okay. Hi, internet problems maybe. Here I am presenting about Cyberfest Rebooted. So I was saying that last year for 2020, we had Cyberfest, and then this year we're rebooting it. And it has been going on for now 6 days, and the final day will be this Sunday afternoon. And you can check out our guests of honor who are joining us from Tiny Splendor. They designed the poster and they also designed some merch for us. And they invited the wonderful guests who we had in our Thinking Captions zine reading last night, Ocean Escalante, Samantha Espinosa, and Tamiko Sidore. And you can check out that video on YouTube as well and Facebook. So some guidelines for the presenters tonight. Please keep your videos off unless you are presenting. Keep yourself on mute until it's your turn. And if you have a question or a compliment for one of the other exhibitors, go ahead and ask in the Zoom webinar chat. And that will stay private with just the folks inside the webinar, not the viewers. And then if anyone is tuning in from YouTube and Facebook or the Zoom webinar, not exhibitors side, then you can chat there and ask questions. And we have volunteers who will make sure that the questions get relayed back to the artists. And each artist has 5 minutes to share their work, and you can use your 5 minutes however you like. You can show us your zines, you can share your screen with some digital art of your zines, you can show off your workspace, or talk about things that inspire you, whatever you'd like to do. And tonight we have ASL interpretation provided by Nicole Watson and Rob Merino. We're super grateful to these local Bay Area interpreters who have helped us out a lot this year and last year. And we ask that every presenter be very mindful of folks who are blind or visually impaired by being very specific and descriptive when sharing your work. It's also helpful if you describe yourself briefly so that people can get the full experience no matter what their level of sight is. And just a hot tip, if you are holding up a zine, then you may have to turn off your colorful background or be very careful about getting it the right distance from your webcam. And just so everyone knows, we are recording this Zoom webinar and broadcasting it. And again, above all, just be respectful of everybody. So real quick, what should you say when you're presenting? Again, this is just a guideline because you can use your time however you like, but you can tell us your name and pronouns. Tell us if you're based in the Bay Area or wherever you are in the world. Tell us a little bit about yourself and show us your work or read something from your zines or comics. And before I introduce the exhibitors, I want to introduce myself. I'm Michaela Payne, and I've been a co-organizer of San Francisco Zine Fest. This is my 4th year, with some years volunteering before that. And it's been really a lovely, wonderful experience every year to see all these artists come together. So I'm really glad that we were able to continue it in these times. I have worked on a bunch of zines, but I'm trying to figure out how to finish any project. And in the meantime, I've been doing most of the social media and making a bunch of flyers and making sure that everyone is able to ask questions through our Instagram and keep that going. So working away behind the scenes here, and hopefully I will have some zines to share with you all next year. So now, oh, also I'm based in Sacramento now. So I was living in the Bay Area for 7 years and got involved with Zine Fest and then moved away, which just proves that we can all remain involved in this world regardless of where we are in the world. So now for the group F exhibitors. This is our full list, which you can also see on Instagram and Facebook. And let's get started. So our first presenter tonight is Awkward Ladies Club, based in Alameda, California. And Amy Burek is a Bay Area artist who spends a lot of time thinking about the internet. Her work explores how technology has shaped the way we communicate, interact with each other, and perceive ourselves. She self-publishes under the imprint Awkward Ladies Club and can be found using the social media handle @awkwardladies. You can visit her at awkwardladiesclub.com or Venmo her directly, Amy-Burek. Amy, please take it away.
All right, hi everybody. My name is Amy Burek. My pronouns are she, her, and I am a middle-aged lady sitting in her partner's Zoom office. I just got glasses for the first time a month ago, so kind of still introducing that to the world, I guess. And I'm in Alameda, California, and I work out of Oakland and Berkeley. And I have 2 books that I wanted to share tonight that I've made in the past year. So the first is a kind of a swatch book from our printing studio in Berkeley. I run a small risograph print shop with another local artist, Zach Clark, and it's called Shoot Studio. And risograph printing is a kind of a hybrid between a photocopying and silkscreen. So it, to some extent, has the ease of using a photocopier, but you get to use a lot of really great spot color inks to make your work. And I think the inks are our favorite part. So we decided to put together a swatch book of the inks available out of our studio. And because I was the one who took over the project, I chose something really nerdy to combine it with. So this new book is called the Shoot Studio Riso Ink Color Guide to Bacteria. So each ink color has some basic information on the swatch, kind of serves as a example of how it prints. And because we wanted to include an image as well to show how things print, I chose a different bacteria for each page. So if you're interested in some casual knowledge about bacteria in the environment, then maybe that would interest you. The other book that I've published this year, I did in partnership with another person I know from Zines, Catherine. She's a former Oakland zinester, but now lives on the East Coast. And I helped her publish this book that is called, it's called the Death Project Manager Mortality Workbook. So Death Project Manager is an offering from Catherine, who offers services as an end-of-life doula. And we put this workbook together as kind of a guide to organizing your things, letting people know what your wishes are at the end of life, and some chance to reflect on the kind of legacy that you might want to leave behind. So it's not legal advice and it's not medical advice, but it's kind of a guide to everything else that you may want to do. And sorry, I didn't really prepare much to talk, but what this book is designed as a notebook. So it's to be written in and kept. So I'm just going to show a few pages that show a little bit about the questions that it asks and the space that it provides, a few blank lines for you to work on. And I think one of the things, that'll be the last thing I show you that I think is really useful, is kind of a starting place for end-of-life planning is a list of all of the different documents that you'd want to have organized, and kind of some guidance of where you would want to put them together, how you'd want to organize them, and who needs to be aware of this information, and making sure you communicate that as well. So that's all I have prepared for today. And I appreciate everybody's time and for listening. And I think that's it for me. So I'm on Instagram at Awkward Ladies, and my website is awkwardladiesclub.com. So thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. That book looks awesome. I feel like I want to buy one for everybody, but I don't know if that's like a creepy gift, but it sounds really good. Thank you so much for sharing all that. Go ahead and turn off your video, and we are going to get to our next presenter. Who is Cammy, Tokyo Bookish Cat. And I'll quickly read your bio while you're getting ready. Okay, my computer's freaking out for a sec. Here we go. Hi, I'm Cammy. I'm originally from Tokyo, Japan, and currently based in San Francisco Bay Area. Tokyo Bookish Cat is my zine project, and you can find Cammy at Instagram, Tokyo_bookish_cat, or on Twitter, Bookish Cat Tokyo. And Cammy is a first-time San Francisco Zine Fest exhibitor. So go ahead and show us your work.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Cammy. I am originally from Tokyo, Japan, and I moved to San Francisco Bay Area in November 2019. Right after that, the pandemic happened. So I was inspired by the experience and created my zines. And one of my zines is called Bookstores in San Francisco Bay Area. During the pandemic, I visited local bookstores. So I included a lot of art in this zine, like the buildings of bookstores, something cute stuff I could find. And I also put some information about ice stores or coffee shops next to each stores. And I came across many cool books, sometimes asked for booksellers' recommendations, and explore the neighborhood during this time. And I felt kind of very isolated at the time, and going to the bookstores was one way to make myself feel more connected to the society. In another zine, I looked back to my life in Tokyo. I was really busy and worked overtime a lot every day. So what helped me survive the situation was the food someone else cooked for me. Sometimes it was, let me show you, fried rice from my favorite Chinese restaurant. And sometimes it was a bento box I bought at the station before going on a business trip. Let me show. Yeah, I put some my favorite bento box here. So the food would occasionally become conversational starters on my way to and from work, which you will be able to read some of these incidences in my zine. In the same way that the bookstores in San Francisco Bay Area helped me connect with the society, I feel that the food also brought me closer to people. So I drew and wrote this zine because I really appreciated the food culture in Tokyo. That's all about my zines. So thank you for listening to my presentation. And it is a great honor to be able to participate in this zine festival.
Thank you so much for being here with us, Cammy.
Thank you.
Your zines sound like a really great resource. And it sounds like some people in the chat are excited to see them too. Go ahead and turn off your video and we'll move on to the next presenter. All right. Next, we will be joined by Mer or Mare. I'm not sure how to say it, and I'm looking forward to hearing it. Mer's bio is this. I work in healthcare, lifeguard on the side, and make zines in my spare time. I hope to become a nurse as well as a middle-aged contortionist. And you can find their work at etsy.com/shop/sleepthroughkings. And they're joining us from Reno, Nevada. Are you here with us? Sounds like they might not be here with us. I believe we didn't get a confirmation from them. So if you join it, if Mer is here and wants to join at any time later, we'll just have time for you later. So on to the next person. Definitely encourage you to go visit that Etsy shop. We will drop it in the chats so that you can still experience their work. All right, next we have Helen Shewolfe Zhang. Helen Shewolfe Zhang is an artist, designer, and witch who was born to Taiwanese immigrants in the Deep South under a full moon. Their work
Okay, I think Michaela may have frozen. Helen, if you could get on screen and present for us, that would be great. Sorry about that.
Hi, no worries.
Thank you.
Hi. Okay, I'm Helen Shewolfe. I use they and she pronouns, and I'm an artist and designer and witch. I'm currently based in San Francisco on unceded Ohlone lands. And my work is often concerned with personal histories and ancestry, which I explore through ritual, animal motifs, and non-linear experiences of space and time. So I'm going to show some of my zines that are in this category. I have this mini zine that I made. This is the original, which is black and white on goldenrod paper. And this is the new version, which is in color, and it's called In Captivity, I Find Myself Thinking of Bats. It's a poem and kind of a collection of found images of bats, about my love of bats, which are kind of an ancestral motif for blessings. And that's complicated by their association with coronavirus transmission and anti-Asian racism. So that's the color version. I have this zine, a few copies left of this, which is a limited run. It's called The Brood Right. And it's a zine that uses the 17-year cicada emergencies as the site of a collaborative generational ritual. And this was made for the Brood X emergence, which happened this spring. And the next emergence of Brood X is 2038. And we have enough ritual space for 4 emergences ending in 2072. The next scene I'm going to show is, and this is the one that will be available in stores through SF Zine Fest. It's from a series I make called The Pedestrian Society of Space and Time. And this is one I made during the quarantine, a participatory zine workbook of rituals and creative explorations for blurred space and time. This is a zine called Growth Spells, which is a series of drawings that I make as a result of an experimental ritual that I devised as a portal to flow state and time travel. And I also have some prints to show. These are a series of mini prints called Coyote Portals. It's from an ongoing series of drawings of coyotes, which have been for me kind of an oblique path to examining migration, displacement, intergenerational trauma, and the climate crisis. And these are available in a pack of 10 on my website in my shop. I also have these prints. These are Fu talisman inspired prints for the protection of immigrants. It's a 3-color risograph print that I have in 4 different colors, inspired by ancestral ritual and motif. And these ship flat, but they can also be folded ritualistically, which kind of reveals some extra secrets. And the last thing I'll show is I have these stickers that are like early internet inspired. I have a under construction, a broken image, this dial-up image all in sort of pixel art, and there's also an enamel pin. It says internet. And it's from a show I did a few years ago. And lastly, this is my Instagram handle. And if you go to my latest post, I have a discount code for free shipping. Thank you so much, SF Zine Fest, for having me. And that's all for me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us again as an exhibitor this year. I remember your work from last year. All right, so after Helen, our next presenter will be Maria Fong. Maria Fong is an artist from Berkeley who makes zines, animations, and drawings that tell silenced stories and foster interaction between people. And you can find Maria at Instagram /MariaFongtastic or Maria Fongtastic Issue on Issue. The URLs here are getting a little complicated, so I'm going to let you see that in our Instagram post.
Thank you, Michaela. I'll put the links in the chat at the end.
We've actually got that handled for you.
You got it. Okay,
go
cool.
ahead and present. Thank you.
Thanks. I'm Maria. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm an artist from Berkeley, California. Right now I'm visiting family in Elk Grove. And I make drawings, zines, prints, and animations. And today I will show you one of my zines that I made during the pandemic, and do a little show and tell demo of an envelope activity. So if you want to get a piece of paper while I show the zine, just for some interaction, feel free. This is my zine called Correspondence Windows. It's a documentation of a mail art project I did during April 2020, where I asked friends and family to send me photos of the views outside of their window as we were all sheltered in place. So people sent me their views, and then I did drawings of what I saw in the photos on ink, with ink on plastic. Then I mailed those back to different people in the chain of participants, and they took a new picture. So here you can see my drawings taped to their windows with the other person's background in the picture. And it's sort of like a game of telephone. There's a lot of patterns in my zine where I repeated what I was drawing into motifs. And you can read it on Issue because I'm having trouble showing it up to the camera. So I want to thank all the participants who made that happen and made little moments of connection as we were all separated from each other. Okay, now I will show this small envelope. My friend and I in middle school used to write notes inside these envelopes back and forth and leave them in each other's lockers during PE class. So I want to get back into making these. If you have a piece of paper handy, you can follow along. It can be printer paper in a portrait orientation, and you will fold it the long way, or hot dog, I think it's called. Then you will open it back up and fold each corner to the center line. So now you have a hexagon shape. Next, fold the right and left sides to the center line. Then you have another shape of a hexagon. You can fold the top point down so that the top becomes a rectangle shape. It fits inside the shape that's already there. And same on the bottom. So now you have a rectangle, and flip it over where there's a smooth back and fold this in thirds. Okay, the last step is, this is slightly messy because I did it not on a flat surface, but the last step is to take 1/3 and slip it inside the corners of the back third, which forms a diamond on the front. And that's your envelope. So you can write inside or store some flat goodies inside. And to open, you just pull on the front.
This is so cool.
Thanks.
I made mine. Thank you so much for this. No one has done that in our presentations before.
Sorry, I went over, I realized. But thank you to all the organizers and everyone for watching.
Just by a couple seconds. And hi from Sacramento, since you're in Elk Grove.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, and I will cherish this little envelope and how to do it.
Thank you.
All right. So next we have Thought Rot. Thought Rot says, I'm a San Francisco-based writer, research assistant, and freelance flaneur. I've written for AudioFem, Broadcast Stewart, Collectors Weekly, and Bay City News. You can find their work at thought-rot.net or feminineitch.bigcartel.com, or go ahead and send them some money on Venmo or PayPal. Are you ready for us? Hoping that Thought Rot is here with us, but it looks like that might be a no. So again, if you are here, you can go at the end. All right, definitely go visit their work at Big Cartel. feminineitch.bigcartel.com. So next we have My Little Victories by Aisha Yoshida. Born and raised in Tokyo, Aisha Yoshida graduated from the New School for Public Engagement in New York with an MA in Media Studies. She now lives in the San Francisco Bay Area, where she enjoys nature walks and local beers. After working as an art administrator, she started making zines and print works under her label My Little Victories in 2017. Her work focuses on appreciating the little things in her everyday life, and you can visit her work at aishayoshida.com.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead and
Yes.
share your video if you'd like to.
Yes. Oh, I think I did. Oh,
There we go.
hi. Thank you for introducing me. My name is Aisha Yoshida, and I'm originally from Tokyo, Japan, and currently live in Bay Area. So today I'd like to introduce my zine. I started making zines in 2016 with my friend. Some of you might know these zines. So these are a map of San Francisco series I make with my friend. We visited some groceries shops, ice cream shops, libraries, pizza places, and tea places in San Francisco. Enjoy what we saw there. I saw everything. And so it was right after I moved to San Francisco, and it helped me to explore the city, and I really have fun to make zines. So we picked like 6 places, and you can open up to the map. Okay. And in 2017, I started my own project. First zine I made called My Little Victories 2017, which is this one. So this is the zine about things that bring me little joys and hold up my everyday life. From local beer at the end of the day to museum books, my favorite pens, like beers, keys, which is like everyday ordinary things. So every time I feel lost, I go back to this zine and remind myself that I'm okay because I have all this stuff. Since then, I've been making zines, prints, and these prints, flowers, cars, stickers, these USB truck stickers, lava stickers. Enjoying the little things in my life, helping knowing myself and appreciating the small things in life, and be thankful for what I am surrounded by. And I think that's why I enjoy and make things. So I'd like to show you more of my zines. So I made this beer in the San Francisco Bay Area zine to all beer lovers and makers. This zine features 6 breweries and tap rooms I enjoy in the Bay Area. You can open up, and there's a 21st Amendment, and there's Anchor Steam, there's 4 Point, and you can go the end. There's a map of the Bay Area. So this is a Riso printed zine, and I've sewn each zine by hand. I like sewing zines. Yeah, so if you follow my Instagram account, I have been drawing beer cans, bottles that I enjoy drinking since I moved to the Bay Area, because Bay Area in California has a lot of great local beers. So I made this beer print too, which has California beers that I enjoyed. I also have a t-shirt. Yeah, so that's that. And I also made this boba zine. I love bobas too. And I made this in 2018, so I probably should update. It's same as beer, has 6 beer places I visited, and there's a map in the back, like this. Okay. Yeah, so you can find my work at my aishinyoshida.com, and my Instagram is my little victories. I think that's all for me. Thank you for listening, and thank you for having me.
Very cool stuff. And I love the bright colors and the hand sewing. Very cool. Thank you so much for being here. All right, y'all. On to the next. And definitely go visit Aisha Yoshida's work. Definitely pick one of those up. So next we have One Belly, who's joining us from San Mateo, California. And One Belly says, "Hi, I am Christy. I spent a decade building consumer-facing products in the tech industry, following a short stint as a crime beat reporter after my art history college education. My passion is to help people understand their place in the universe more by getting back to the roots of what they eat and how the meal is made." And you can check out their work on onebelly.com/publications.html. And if you're joining us, go ahead and jump right in.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you for giving us a chance to connect online, even though we can't meet in person. Eishin is actually one of my favorite zine artists, so it's pretty exciting to be going after her. And now I can have to find a way to put things in this envelope. So I think it's like a really cool event that we're doing. I'm Christy. My pronouns is she, her. I live in the Bay Area. I publish through One Belly. I highlight food stories on food origins, culture, and anthropology. Specifically, I'm very much interested in Chinese cuisine and how Chinese cuisine moves through the world. I work with different mediums, from meetups, cooking classes, photography, to recently videos. I always find zines as the best format for me to tell the stories I want to tell. It gives me the opportunity to be visually creative, to try something more fun and daring, and to turn my thoughts into words. And I think most importantly, to be more vulnerable. So I started One Belly wanting to kind of rise above the food culture of food trends and food reviews that seemingly have taken over the narrative, and help people really get back to that shared experience grounded in our identity and traditions. So a few years ago, I backpacked in northern China with the goal to learn how to make noodles. I started in Beijing and moved my way westward to Shanxi province, which created an entire pasta system over the last 2,000 years. And then Xi'an in Shanxi, where they're famous for their bangbang noodles. So like if you've been to Xi'an Famous Foods in New York City, that's where the noodles is from. And really ended my journey in Lanzhou, which is the home of hand pull noodles, like la mian. So from this journey, I created a photo book called a black and white photo book called One Black and One White, because in Shanxi, they're famous for is coal and is noodles, so one black and one white. It captures my time at the Shanxi Noodle School, where my classmates were more than generous to show me like I'm like a complete noodle noob. The ways, and they sent me like off with like pastries that they made in class. It was like really fun. So these are some of the pages. You can see these are the photos that I took of the classmates. And then in this photo book, I have like a page that explains some of the major noodles in that province, including knife-shaped noodles and scissors cut noodles. So Shanxi is not a very rich province in northern China. They don't use a lot of ingredients like seafood or meat like you see in Shanghai or southern China. So they have to be super creative with just the dough. And that's where you really see an abundance of noodle style. So I think that's like really cool to capture here. So along with it, I created some recipe cards for those who really want to try making the noodles, because it's really not fun to just look at photos. So you can kind of learn. So there's like a recipe card of learn how to make. This one is for bang bang noodles, and this one is for like knife shape noodles. And then I also have like Rizzo photo prints, and then also a Rizzo scene of like, it looks like a notebook because it's basically my notes that I took when I was like learning how to make noodles. So I think this is a bunch of stuff here. So my exploration with noodles didn't really stop there. You know how like when you start on a topic for scenes, you kind of just get super obsessed. So then I continue. Let me see what I have. So I started thinking about all the different noodles in China, and then I made a zine of like map of Chinese noodle, and it kind of folds out into a map, and it shows you like where all these different noodles is. So it's like, you can see my drawings, and then I zoom into like the noodle that I grew up with, which is wonton noodles, and it talks about like, hey, things that are important, like how do you know what good wonton is? And the key is actually you want 70% shrimp and 30% pork. And then I started playing a little bit more creatively. Like if I abstract like the shapes of ingredients of noodles, like what do I get? And then I started making these Rizzo postcards of just like noodles, what they could look like. And then from it, I made like a guess this ingredients games. So like you can kind of like, for example, what is this? This is like an egg. So it's just like a fun game. Thing. What else? So at my height of noodle obsession, I made a zine explaining why there are 3 different aisles for noodles in Asian supermarkets. It's kind of crazy. It talks about like dry and fresh noodles. I love the colors of this, and I love how like your fingers become instantly yellow because it's Rizzo printed. I have since moved away from noodles because it was, a huge, probably like 2 or 3 year obsession. So I started making other things. So I should probably move away, such as this little poster that I made on family of tofu. This is a really fun one too, because it's like about how to succinctly collect all the information about tofu. So you started with soybeans, and then once you have soy milk, how do you go from tofu skin, silken tofu, soft tofu, and firm tofu to become all these different byproducts of tofu. So if you know someone who loves tofu, if you love tofu, this is something that you can get as a gift.
These are so cool. Unfortunately, we're at the end of
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, but these are so cool. Love your excitement about these, and all of us are drooling over here in the chat.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're interested, go to onebelly.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yum. Oh my gosh. All of us are going to be dreaming about that. Next, we have Tori Holder. Tori Holder is a comics zinester of Los Angeles, and you can find Tori's work at toriholder.com, spelled TORIHOLDER.com. And Tori, if you're here with us, go ahead and take over.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and thank you to all the other exhibitors and everyone who's tuning in. Zines are such an important part of my life, and so I'm really honored today to be able to share them with you and to keep the zine spirit alive even when we can't meet together. So I'm going to be sharing a little bit from my most current zine, which is Small Universes. I put it together for some zine fairs I thought I would be doing in the fall, which I'm doing virtually. So that's really fun. It's a collection of comics poetry, which is basically just little snippets of words and text put together with images in a way that creates its own kind of micro story, but isn't necessarily a linear narrative. And there's just a lot of little different snippets in here. Each page is its own thing. Some are 4 panels, some are only 2, but it gives you an idea. I'm gonna go to like one of my favorites right now. If I could find it. Oh yeah. I'm gonna just describe it because I don't know how well you can see it. But it's a little 4-panel comic with barnacles on a rock by the ocean, and it says, "There are days where it seems like you can't, but you always do. Somehow you always do." And that was one I made when I was just feeling really kind of down about myself, and I just needed something to remind myself, like, every day you think you can't do this, but you get up, you do it, and you go to bed and you do it again. So that's just a little reminder to me. And yeah, just lots of little comics in here. Another zine that I have that I made prior to that one is called I Should Be Happy, More Mini Comics by Tori Holder. And it's a collection of one-panel comics, which is something I did as a extended kind of, like, it was going to be like an anti-Inktober thing, and then it ended up being not that there's anything wrong with drawing one day every day for 31 days, but it gets a little tiring. And then it ended up just being this kind of extended project where I used the same color palette and just made these little one-panel comics. So
we'd love to see a few pages if you can hold it up to this.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't holding it up.
Beautiful colors.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Good.
So there is sunlight inside you. There are a lot of lessons I've learned before that I'll probably learn again. And then on the back of the zine is the last one. Closure is a made-up word. And I believe that is it for my time. And thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. These look beautiful. You do still have 2 minutes. So
oh, I do?
If you'd like to just hold it up even higher, then
yes,
we'd love to see those rich.
Holding up zines even higher.
Yeah, that's great.
There we go.
Very cool.
Yeah, and feel free to ask me any questions you have about the zines. I'm very available on Instagram and through the contact page on my website.
And what's your Instagram handle?
That Tori H.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Definitely check out Tori's work. Thanks to our volunteer who's just posted that Instagram handle in the chat. And I'm looking forward to going and checking out more of your work. All right, so while we were on the subject of food and travel, with the previous presenter, someone shared about this cool event, Joy on Joy Street Fair. So I just thought I would share it right here real quick. It's put on
Okay. Looks like Michael is a little frozen again. Okay, so it's being put on by the Chinese Historical Society of America Museum. Oh.
On to our next presenter. So next we have Trains magazine. Trains is an annual trans-only arts publication. Trains is entirely trans-run and trans-featured and is 100% independent. Trains magazine is a first-time tabler, and you can find their work at trainszine.com or on Instagram at trainszine. Or you can go ahead and send them money at PayPal, trainszine@gmail.com, or on Venmo at Frankie Lorenzini, and I believe that's who's going to be presenting with us today. So go right ahead.
Hello, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Frankie. I'm the founding editor of Trains Magazine, which is, as you said, it's a exclusively trans featured arts publication. It is Rhizo printed, and so the last 2 issues, this is the most current issue, which is the 5th one. This one and the previous one were printed by Tiny Splendor here in Berkeley, and they're amazing. So shout out to them and Sana, who works at Tiny Splendor. So I guess I want to give like a little history about the magazine and how it started. It actually started as like this really small single run batch of zines that I made in my senior year of college, sort of as a response to this latent transphobia that I was experiencing in a women's self-defense class that I was in at the time. And I was prompted by the class to do something creative that kind of summed up the things that I had learned that semester. And so I decided to make this little booklet. I called it Trains, and it was a booklet of like 10 little like lessons of like how to be respectful and mindful when interacting with trans people, or just things that you can change in your own life to be more supportive and make spaces more accessible. And I don't even have a physical copy of that magazine anymore, which is sad. But I just gave those out for free. And then moving forward from that, I was like, I want to make this project bigger, and I want it to be less about my own personal viewpoints, because obviously I'm one single person, and the idea of the trans community being this like monolith is just not true. So I wanted it to be more about sourcing perspectives and the voices of various trans people from different lived experiences in different parts of the world too. So issue 2 followed the same format. I do have a copy of it. It's very, very worn copy from 2017, which I printed at my school library. And it was like my first foray into kind of curating work from trans people, mostly people that I knew, but there were a couple people who I got to submit that I didn't know personally, which was cool. And then, so this was the second issue, and then the third issue, I wanted to make things a bit more clean cut. And so I was living in Chicago at the time, and I decided to work with a Rhizo print house in Chicago called Perfectly Acceptable Press. This is the third issue. It's printed in blue. This issue featured, like maybe like 20 different people. And, you know, in this issue, I had artists from London, from Peru, from like all different parts of the world, which is really cool. And it's both written and visual work. And sadly, these 2 issues are not in print anymore, so they're not available. This is the only copy I have of each of them. So they exist in the archive, sort of. But issue 4, which came out last year, it's much larger in scale. And this is when I started working with Tiny Splendor. It came out like right in the beginning of the pandemic, which is an interesting time to launch a magazine. And I think with each issue, I've been trying to just sort of refine the form and the aesthetics of the magazine itself, while still remaining true to the zinester roots of it being like kind of DIY and community oriented, which it definitely is.
It looks really good. And unfortunately, that's your time, but I'm
okay.
Checking it out.
Well, this is the 5th issue, and this is what is going to be available in bookstores through the SF Zine Fest. So
yay!
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, guys.
And I dropped a link to Perfectly Acceptable Press out in Chicago if y'all want to check that out. Good to know about presses everywhere. And I will share my screen again, and we'll move on to the next presenter. And the next presenter is Acardellart, who cannot be here with us tonight. So she sent us a video and we're going to play that for you. Lauren's going to cue it up in just a minute. And in the meantime, I will read her bio. Aisha Cardell is a queer Taiwanese hapa that empowers mindfulness and healing with handcrafted illustrated goods. Intentionally slowing down, she deconstructs generational trauma as a first-generation Asian American woman. She believes in decolonizing systems of oppression that define, restrict, and police our minds and bodies. Her illustrations rediscover unapologetic ways to transform space for yourself in hopes of nurturing inner growth. And you can visit Aisha's portfolio at acardell.wixsite.com/acardell, and Acardell is spelled Acardell. And you can visit her shop at acardell.com or visit Instagram at Acardellart, or send her money on Venmo at Acardellart. And I personally have the Not Sorry mini zine, and it's really great. Got that a few years ago at, I believe it was Aisha's first ever timetabling at San Francisco Zine Fest. So Lauren, we're ready for the video if you are ready for us.
Hello, I am Aisha Cardell, also known as Acardellart. I make a lot of illustrated goods. Personally, I really prioritize just making zines, telling my own personal experience with generational trauma, unlearning a lot of toxic behaviors and mentalities maybe carried on and inherited, whether it's from our generation, whether it's from our environments, and really wanting to slow down and start to connect with a deeper side of ourselves, a more authentic side, which perhaps is, has been conditioned to be hidden away just because of, us being protective of our vulnerability. And so lately I created this little screen printed little series, really just wanting to, it was inspired by just over the years in therapy. I've just been digesting and trying to learn and internalize a lot of what I've been accumulating over the years. And for me, it's just really a lot of the content in psychology and specifically in CBT training is very dense. A lot of the stuff you'll see in therapy or some of the handouts and pamphlets you get are very wordy, and for me I really wanted to create something that was more accessible, a little bit easier for the eye when you're looking at it too, especially when you're going through it. For me this work is really something that I've been ruminating a lot about over the years, and something I really wanted to capture on paper, and I'm really grateful to see everything kind of come together, and also the people I've been able to resonate with and connect with together on this level. So this is kind of intended as like a little journal. This is me and my baboon brain, a safe space to process difficult thoughts and emotions. In the book, I have this little list of challenging cognitive distortions. So first, write down the negative thought or feeling, identify which cognitive distortion is occurring, examine the evidence instead of believing in the automatic negative thought. If you are talking to yourself in a harsh, condemning way, talk to yourself with the same compassion you would with a friend. Play out the scene hypothetically, then step back and ask yourself, is that realistic? Is it really as bad as I thought? Instead of assuming you are bad and blaming yourself entirely for the problem, consider the factors that were out of your control. So this is, what can you let go? What no longer serves you? What is your intuition telling you? And maybe quiet. Take your time, listen. So this was intended to either accompany this poster, or really more importantly, didn't start as I wanted these to be a series. This is a little kind of info chart where you could see the different cognitive distortions and have this space over here to process it in your own time whenever you're ready. And on the back, I just really liked this back of the little booklet, and I actually ended up just creating a little poster for it, and I just wanted to share with you all. So take a deep breath, as many as you need. Recognize what you feel, think without judgment. Allow what is right now before fixing or avoiding. Surrender to the present moment. Soothe yourself. Hold that side of you that's hurting. You hold yourself like no one else can. So thank you so much for tuning in. A lot of what I create is inspired by Ruby Dog, Ruby! So I'm really grateful to share all my work with you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. Take care.
Thanks for getting the video up for us, Lauren. And everyone definitely go check out Acardellart on Instagram and everywhere else. It sounds like Amy is logging off. And so thank you again, Amy, for presenting your work this evening. Really nice to see you. And I think it may have frozen.
We can still hear you.
Okay, cool. Yes, sweet. All right. So last but not least, we are going to be joined by our 12th presenter for the day, who is going by Zines and Collages by Kirages, joining us from Houston, Texas. Not sure how I say your last name, but please correct us. Maybe it's Courageous. So Anastasia Stacy Kirages is a Houston-based zinester, collage artist, and community organizer for Zine Fest Houston, also known as ZFH. Check out more of her work on Instagram at k.llages, which looks like collages. You can also Venmo her at Anastasia-Courageous or send her money in a few other places. So go ahead and join us and present your work.
Hello. Thank you so much, San Francisco Zine Fest, for having me here. My name's Anastasia Kirages, but I go by Stacy, and my pronouns are she, her. The description about me: I am a Caucasian woman with dyed blonde hair, and I'm wearing a short red sleeve t-shirt with a Yoshitomo Nara figure on the front. And so, yeah, my last name is Kirages, and I'm really lucky in that it rhymes with collages. So I'm just like, hey, I'll just do that. No, but I really love collage. That's like my main medium. I'm based out of Houston, Texas, which we're not doing too great right now, but you know how it is here in Texas. So I'm going to show some of my zines. They're kind of not all over the place, but I tend to do them about food, and like I do some winter poem zines, and a lot of it is just like collage based. So this is one of my very first zines. It says my favorite painting on the front, and it says, today I'm going to show you my favorite painting. Here it is. This is the Corn Poppy by Kees van Dogen. I don't know if I said that correctly, but this is in the Museum of Fine Arts Houston. So that was kind of this is an image of the painting, the Corn Poppy here, that I really like that painting. Then another one I did, this is called Gut Feelings. This one is a perzine of mine that I did in, when did I do this? 2013. And it was about a time in my life when I was going through like a lot of digestive issues. So that's this. If you have digestive problems, like I highly suggest this one. Some other ones I have are Strawberry Rhubarb Pie Zine, how to make a rhubarb pie, and it just goes through the instructions on how to make a pie. And then, yeah, these are all food based, I guess. Foods I like. I've got some eggs in there, figs and sushi, and it just continues on. I have Sunday foods, zine. These are like classic Sunday foods that you would find at your breakfast table. The other ones I have done are more specialized. Any Josh Groban fans out there? Well, this is the zine for you. This is a pretty comprehensive zine about Josh Groban, and I have on the cover, it's got Josh Groban CD of, I believe it's Awake is the album. I don't know. Discography, their descriptions of his CDs. Yeah. And concerts that I've been to. So this is very Josh Groban centered zine. This one is called Zine Fuzz, after a restaurant called Neen Fuzz here in Texas. I don't know if it's specialized or based in Houston only, but this is a restaurant review zine of places just in Houston. So we have like a review for Kasra Persian Grill here, and then just a bunch of different places in Houston that you can get really good food. This other one is called Eggs, and I have done like some collage of like photos, and then we have like some eggs here. This is showing a family like standing in front of a vehicle, and then there's like an egg over here. This is a woman standing next to a pond, and then the egg is kind of like representing the sun. And this last one, I think is funny. It's a trio of men, and I imagine them singing like eggs, you know, right there. Yeah, so I mean, a lot of it is just like very collage based. This is a zine called Big Collages that I've done. And this is like some earlier work. This one's in color, but there's like a heart and then a Greek church there with some triangles. I think that's pretty much it. I'm starting grad school, so I really hope that I can continue making zines. I've been an organizer for Zine Fest Houston since 2013, and we're trying to have an in-person event this year. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's all I have right now. Thank you so much.
Cool, right on time. Thanks for sharing all your work, and good luck with organizing Zine Fest Houston and also everything else going on in Texas. I am personally wondering if the Josh Groban zine has a centerfold, so maybe tell us in the chat if there's a centerfold.
Okay.
Thanks so much for being here and for being our last but not least presenter for the day, and for having the ability to work into our schedule, because I know that we switched you from another day, or I don't know who requested it, but thank you anyway. And I want to share next the upcoming events that we have for the rest of SF Zine Fest. So if you can see my screen, the upcoming Cyberfest Rebooted events to close out this year's 20th anniversary festival are tomorrow. We have another show and tell with about 10 more exhibitors. And then we have a bookbinding workshop at Rock, Paper, Scissors Collective, which was RSVP only. So if you were able to RSVP for that event, I hope you have a great time. And then after that, we have a Q&A with our 2021 Guest of Honor, Tiny Splendor. And the following day on Sunday, we have another show and tell of our last set of Zinesters, and then a bookbinding workshop again at Rock, Paper, Scissors, also sold out, sorry folks. And then after that, we have a closing party hangout. I wish that we could have it on all in person so that we could truly hang out and have a party, but we're gonna do our best talking about zines for a final hour on the internet. So check out our Instagram for more details, and here are the flyers for those, which are gonna be going up on Instagram shortly. And also, if you are in the Bay Area or know people in the Bay Area, then go check out the SF Zine Fest zine displays at these 3 bookstores who are working with us. So Silver Sprocket is one of them. Another is Mission Comics and Art. And the last one is Dog-Eared Books, the Castro location specifically. And apparently they're changing
Okay, what Michael was saying is soon Dog-Eared Castro is going to be Fabulosa. So if you get there mid-month, it may be Fabulosa instead of Dog-Eared Comics, or sorry, Dog-Eared Books.
each other's work and go buy it. Here are the zine displays at those stores. And then you can also support SF Zine Fest by donating at our website or by buying apparel, which features a design made by Tiny Splendors Sana, who some of you know. And we have a bunch of different colors of t-shirts and hoodies. And we also have really cool stickers with this cool like twin hair intertwined zine reader character. And I would really like to thank the ASL interpreters tonight, Nicole Watson and Rob Merino. Really super grateful for you folks helping us achieve our accessibility goals and being here. And we'd also like to thank Intersection for the Arts. SF Zine Fest is a member of Intersection for the Arts, which is a bedrock Bay Area arts nonprofit that provides people working in arts and culture with fiscal sponsorship and resources to grow. So definitely check them out if you're looking into how to sell more of your art and level up and get more stable as an artist. And that is it. Thank you all so much for coming and for participating in this exhibitor show and tell, and for sharing your wonderful, delicious, exciting work with us.